There is something that does click, that you do feel. And it's that part of that Howard Finster, whenever he talked to you, he really talked to your soul. For whatever reason, he made a connection to you. There are people in this world like that, and they just are very charismatic. They really just kind of really go to your soul. That was Howard Finster. He was born in 1916 and he passed away in 2001. Paradise Garden is a historic art environment that was created by Reverend Howard Finster, who was actually probably one of Georgia's most famous artists. He actually was a Baptist minister for most of his life. I'm Tina Cox. I'm Executive Director of Howard Finster's Paradise Garden in Summerville, Georgia. Howard, when he was 59 years old, he discovered that he had a vision and to paint sacred art. He had something spoke to him. He would like to think it was God. He moved to Pennville, a little bitty town north of Summerville, and purchased a house there in '61. And he started filling in the backyard. The backyard was a swamp, and it took 5 years of wheelbarrow loads to fill up the whole back. And then he started creating this mosaic garden. I would love to call him the original upcycler, because he was. He really understood that one man's junk is another man's treasure. He was born in 1916. He had nothing growing up. He was extremely poor.
So I heard gardens and I thought it was going to be like this beautiful manicured garden. It's kind of like the Atlanta Botanical Garden. But getting here and seeing these little sheds, it's like Alice in Wonderland. So I'm a plant person. As a biologist, I care about the plants and the flowers and the pollinators that I could see here. I like that there's water that moves through it. I like the mirrored shed right there, the mirrored bricks almost. How you walk in the room and you're surrounded by mirrors and yourself. You're seeing yourself in every corner of that. It also feels expansive, like the creative mind here is so peaceful and welcoming and expansive. It feels like in a garden landscape. I mean, we came through and there were trailer parks and commercial buildings outside, and then you come here and it's like an artist oasis.
I love it. It's beautiful. It's so uniquely American, I feel. Like a junk Garden of Eden. It's very childlike, and I don't know, that to me is so beautiful. You can feel the heart. I really loved I guess it was the tunnel that had some of his stuff, and then just all the love that people sent to him and all the dedicated art to him.
So this gentleman pulled up in a car, and he was a Vietnam vet. After he opened his door, Howard realized he had a wheelchair. He could not get through the garden. Howard put him in a wheelbarrow, and he took him for a tour of his garden. But what was interesting is after he put the Vietnam vet back in the car, he's like, never again. That will never happen again. And so he was so kind and so nice and so in tune with mankind and people that he started the rolling chair ramp. and he's cut all the windows out of the rolling chair ramp at a perfect height. Anyone can see everything in his garden from the rolling chair ramp.
I had no idea I'd walk through and see so many signs with Bible verses. Like, he's created this whole dreamlike world, so whether you believe in the God he's preaching for or not, it really is a magical experience. And he just seems like such a kind soul, like no judgment whether his audience believes in God or not, believes in the word that he's preaching or not. It's just an art that he feels he was called to share with the world.
Howard Finster used that important icon structure called the World's Folk Art Church. He used it a number of ways. He created it as his art museum and his art studio. So it served a number of purposes, and it evolved. He worked on it for a number of years in the 80s, all through the 90s, and then he closed it in 1999. And we are hoping to have the Folk Art Church open in June of next year, which is 2025. And that's the first time I've stated that, by the way.
It's the best job I've ever had. Only time I never wanted to be somewhere else. Grew up here. I met Howard when I was in the 4th grade on a field trip. The Mosaic Garden is the most historic part of the place, and there's several towers that he built. And I think those are my favorites. The hubcap towers, it's one of my favorites. I really like the way the paths kind of frame everything, the curving paths and everything.
It really is a dreamlike atmosphere. So if you like nature and art and collected pieces, I think there's something for everybody here. And it is a really welcoming space. So coming from a couple hours away in Atlanta, I would definitely come back.
This is poetry incarnate here. You can really just tell the sincerity here. It's Howard Finster, he really cared about what he was doing, and it's just so authentic. I don't know, you can't really replicate it.